DeSanto Propane is 4 generations strong as a trustworthy, family-owned business with unmatched customer service. Go online at DeSantoPropane.com for more info or call toll-free at 1-800-752-4574 today. Since 1937, the difference has been DeSanto Propane.
Of FLX Weekly here on FingerLakes1.com. It's March 5th, 2026, and I'm Jim Sinacropi, live here in the FingerLakes1.com studios in Seneca Falls. And today we're going to talk about the SPCC WIC program, that's Society for Protection and Care for Children, Women, Infant, and Children. And we have a couple of folks from the SPCC WIC here in studio. I'll be joined shortly by Kendra Walling, Nutritionist, and Brittany Fisco, Nutritionist Assistant for SPCC WIC. And we're going to learn about the program and the benefits and if you're in need or how you can take advantage of those services. So good show on tap. But first, this episode of FLX Weekly is brought to you by the Lux Hotel and Conference Center. It's a newly renovated full-service hotel with 9,000 square feet of banquet and meeting space. Plan your next visit, event celebration, or meeting with the Lux, or stop in for lunch or dinner daily at the popular Woody's Bar and Grill. Of course, that's the former Holiday Inn between Seneca Falls and Waterloo. And also Seneca Falls Acupuncture, offering personalized treatments for pain relief, women's health, digestive symptoms, cosmetic acupuncture, and more, helping you look and feel your best naturally. Book your appointment online at SenecaFallsAcupuncture.com to experience award-winning care right here in the Finger Lakes. Well, Kendra, Brittany, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming in. Kendra, just explain overview of what the SPCC WIC program is.
Okay. So the WIC program is a program through the USDA, and we're a local agency in New York State. So SPCC is our sponsoring agency, and we cover Wayne, Yates, Seneca, Ontario, and Eastern Monroe for the populations that we serve. Mm-hmm. And then the WIC program in general is to help supply women, infants, and children, so prenatal, postpartum, breastfeeding women, infants, so babies. A lot of people know WIC is for babies. Mm-hmm. And then children up to the age of 5 with nutritious food options that they can purchase at the grocery store. We have nutrition counseling as part of the program, so families who are enrolled can work with a nutritionist, which was what I would be doing as part of my job, just to talk about their goals or how things are going with their kids' development. And we do referral resources and a lot of breastfeeding support. So we have a lot of training around breastfeeding as part of the program.
Okay, so a lot focused around, young mothers and families. So Brittany, do you kind of think that, in your experience, the clients of this program, are they younger, new parents or single moms or families with maybe not a lot of support from an extended family? Like, what's a typical person that takes advantage of the program?
We honestly get a mixture of both. Anyone that's on like SNAP, Medicaid, TANF, they can qualify automatically. So those programs that are the lower income families, they qualify, and we find those families come to us quite a bit. You can also qualify through income, so if you're not quite meeting the income guidelines for the adjuncts, mm-hmm. You can still qualify for income. We find those families that are kind of middle class are still coming to us as well, needing help. And then we do have some young parents that are teenage.
Yeah.
We have a mix. It's a mixture.
And part of it is financial, and part of it is just training or knowledge of how to, treat and care for an infant when a newborn.
Yep.
So All right. How do they find you? Like, do you find them or do they find you?
I would say that typically they find us. We do tabling events at like health fairs, or Brittany's gone to a few different events that schools might put on or that communities put on, and we'll do tabling. But most of the time, people, like, WIC has been around for over 50 years, so people just have a general knowledge that WIC exists. A lot of times we hear that participants come because they knew somebody else who was on WIC, or like my grandma told me about this. My doctor's office told me about this. So we get a lot of referrals. So you could come through your doctor's office, have them send us information. A lot of the local doctor's offices already have our fax number, the paperwork that they would send over to get you connected. We have the SPCC website that
Yep.
has the WIC program as one of the options where you can find more information about
What
us.
is the website address for everybody?
It's www.
Mm-hmm.
dot SPCC ROCH.org.
Okay.
And to get to us specifically, you could do that and choose us from the program list, or do /programs/WIC.
Okay.
I'm gonna go directly there.
So, Brittany mentioned that sometimes it's people who might be considered middle class that need your service. Is that something that's kind of new? Is it because those folks are struggling more financially, or just they still needs the support for the services you provide, not necessarily for a financial reason, but for an educational reason?
Yeah, I think a lot of people end up coming to WIC because there's an understanding that we provide a food benefit, and then that can be supportive, especially in today's climate. Everybody knows that the groceries are more expensive, budgets are a lot tighter, and the income guidelines change each year. So every June, the government adjusts what the income guidelines are based on household size. So depending on what inflation and everything looks like, people who might not have been eligible before become eligible. But like Brittany had said, it's really a mix of everybody. Like, we have grandparents who will have custody of their children that get on the program, so that they can get the benefits for their young grandchildren. Aunts and uncles, foster parents, older moms, really like that whole life cycle, right? If you're able to have a baby, you might be eligible for WIC because it doesn't really discriminate against who might need support with getting food assistance. And the added benefit of WIC is that you also get like one-on-one service. So for your appointment, you would talk to someone like Brittany and myself, and we would ask you what's going on, do a nutrition assessment, and then provide resources that are relevant, maybe educational materials, or even just talk to you about what goals you have for your family and follow up with you at your next appointment to see how that's going. So it's really tailored to each family.
So, Brittany, what I'm hearing is there's an educational component and a financial component. And some people listening might think this has something to do with SNAP benefits. Is there any correlation with SNAP?
I mean, we're in the same wheelhouse, just not connected together. Like, you can qualify with SNAP as an automatic qualifier, but we can't do anything with your SNAP benefits, and you can't qualify.
Yeah, this says here that participants receive an EWIC card. Just talk to me about what you do with an EWIC card.
So the EWIC card works just like a debit card. It is where your benefits get uploaded onto it. You'll get benefits once a month. You get a PIN that you set up onto it, and it works just like a debit card or even a EBT SNAP card.
Okay, so you bring it to the grocery store and you use it to pay for the groceries, but only certain things? Is it
Only
like
certain
similar where if you tried to buy, let's say, geez, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something unhealthy. like
Pepperoni.
Yeah.
You're not going to get any pepperoni with your WIC card.
So you'd try to run it and it would
It would
say
be
no.
denied.
Okay. But all right, gotcha.
Yeah, it is very specific, which I think differentiates it from SNAP, because SNAP is like the cash value that you get that you can purchase foods for, or if you have the cash value, the cash assistance, you can get non-foods. Where WIC is like, if you're a baby, for example, if you're receiving formula, you would have a specific formula that you can purchase. And if you're an older baby, you could also have baby food jars or maybe a cash value that you can use to get like fresh, frozen, or canned fruits and vegetables.
Okay. And
So
also
it's
like
really
milk,
specific.
cheese, eggs, whole grain.
Yeah, so the older participants, women, children, like it's really about whole grains, beans, peanut butter, dairy. So trying to meet a lot of the food group requirements to help with a healthy diet and iron levels, which is how WIC started, was to help improve iron levels in infants who were in poverty. So that's still really the foundation of why the different foods are approved in relation to what the American Dietetics Association recommends. And then from there, we help you decide with your family, like what makes the most sense for you based on those options that you have. And culturally, like, would you prefer whole grain rice or would you prefer like corn tortillas?
Yeah. See which qualify. So, I think earlier you mentioned infants or children up to 5 years of age. Okay. So this EWIC card is not necessarily to bring home food to feed the whole family. It's
No.
targeted towards the newborn or the infant or
Yeah,
child
it's
under
really
5.
for the participant who's on the program. That's like their supplemental food for the month. So since we're a supplemental program, a lot of people are like, how come you don't do any meat? Well, we cover a lot of the food groups. It's just this is to help support the nutrition that your family has.
Yeah.
And then we can offer other referrals or other resources to help connect you with like food pantries or other SNAP if you needed a referral there to help with filling in the gaps of other things.
So do you think that just given that age range up to 5, that once the child reaches school age, that the school system takes over some of that nutritional requirement just through the school lunches?
I would say, yeah, I can see that because like my son goes to a local school and they provide breakfast, lunch. They even do fruit and vegetable snacks based on a grant that they have, and then an after-school program provides another meal.
And sometimes
So
there's backpack programs as well.
yes, or food
Okay.
pantries within the schools for people to be able to bring things
Well,
home.
I think it's interesting because we know about all the programs for kids in school surrounding food and food scarcity in their
Yeah.
families, but there really isn't anything until you get to school for these new parents and for the children under 5. So I guess I can see why this would certainly serve a purpose and why it came about. And you mentioned it was it's a USDA program.
Yes, so it's through the United States government. We're under the USDA, part of like the Farming and Agriculture Bill. And then from there, the federal government contracts with the states who run their version of the WIC program. So WIC in New York State is different than WIC in Florida.
Now, was any of these programs affected by the Doge cuts or the government shutdown in the fall, or like being a federal program from the USDA? Did you experience any type of issues when it came to the stuff that was going on?
Well, I would say we experienced anxiety.
We did
So we all
experience
did.
anxiety.
Yes. So New York State is really great because we were able to have like some contingent funding that helped keep us afloat over the period where the government was in that shutdown period. Other states, actually, their WIC programs struggled a lot and they might not have had funding to be able to continue offering benefits in the same way. But at least specific to us, it worked out in a decent way where we were able to have our part of the funding bill approved for our fiscal year.
Okay.
And then basically that means we have all the funding that we need to be able to run our program through the year, even if there's other like government shutdown stuff being talked about right now, it's not affecting us currently.
Right. Okay. I noticed on your website too that there's a program that's associated with farmers markets.
Yep, so it's the farmers market checks. You get a booklet of 5 checks, or $25 total. Each check is $5. You use them at the farmers markets, some farm stands.
Is that per month or
Nope, you just get one book.
during the summer? Most farmers
During the
markets aren't around.
Yeah,
Okay,
during
so I
summer.
see.
They're good up until the end of November.
Yep.
Usually, typically start in June.
Yep.
And they're good for participants 6 months to
Yes.
the age of 5, and then pregnant and postpartum moms.
Okay. Yeah, to go to the farmer's market and get some truly farm-to-table fresh
Yeah.
produce. Yeah, it's good stuff. And it says also on your website that you serve 5,000 women and children monthly. Like that's a big number. What's your organization look like from a staffing perspective?
From a staffing perspective, so the state has a lot of regulations,
Yeah.
but they do some caseload management, and based on that, I don't specifically do that part of our program, of course, but based on what our director figures out for our caseload management, they figure out how many nutritionists, nutrition assistants that the program needs to cover that caseload that you had mentioned. And for our program, we have 7 nutritionists and I think 5 nutrition assistants. Haley, you, Leanne, Angel. Yeah. So we have a staff of about 15 people total.
And so how do you interact with the women and children, their clients? Is it in person? Do you go to their house? Do they come to you? Is it over the phone? Like, how does that work?
Yeah. So with COVID,
Right.
which feels like 100 years ago and also just yesterday,
Yep.
the USDA had a waiver that allows us to do virtual appointments. And with virtual appointments, we're able to connect with families over the phone, which has been absolutely amazing because a lot of people in our area, specifically the Finger Lakes, like transportation is a huge issue.
Mm-hmm.
And due to the ability to do the appointments over the phone, we're able to connect with families who might have had difficulty reaching our offices previously. So I would say like 95% of our appointments at this point, we connect with families over the phone, work with them to have like doctors send in measurements and things like that we would have done previously when we were in the office together. But we still have in-person appointments. So some families prefer to come into our offices and like we do their measurements. They can play with the toys, lots of toys at the site and things.
So again, serving eligible families in Eastern Monroe County, Wayne, Yates, Seneca, and Ontario, which is the heart of our coverage area. If anybody's listening right now and this is the first they've heard of the program and they might think they might be eligible or interested, what would be the first step?
So, sorry. So they could call our agency. They could text our agency. They could go to the website. They could go to the New York State website. There's a lot of different ways that they could start the process.
So the phone number that I have is 585-394-9240 to call. And you can text too, which I think is kind of nice.
But it's a different number.
Yeah, a different number. And you can, easy way just to kind of reach out with low pressure, you know, and find out what's going on. So the texting number is 585-481-8488. And those numbers and more information can be found at the website at spcc/rochester.org/programs/WIC, W-I-C. Of course, you can get to the WIC program just by going to the homepage at spcc/roch.org. And all the information, there we go.
Beautiful.
So yeah, it's just in general, your guys' jobs and careers here. Is it frustrating? Is it fulfilling? Like, what's it like going to work every day?
All of the above.
Yeah,
I mean, they say to do a job that you love, so you don't have to feel like you have to go to work every
that's
day.
what I try to tell my daughter, who's in college right now.
Yeah, and I love my job. I've been with SPCC for 10 years.
Okay.
In February. So I love my job, but it's frustrating because we're working with real people. Like these people are experiencing true struggles, true crisis, true hardship, and we only have so much control over how the world functions. So yeah, there's frustrating moments where we wish we could do more. Maybe someone doesn't meet the income guidelines and we try to refer them to other programs so that they could automatically be eligible. And at the same time, it's incredibly rewarding. We see the babies grow up, we hear the progress that families make, and well, I really love the topics that we work with, so it's very rewarding on a personal level to be able to work with pregnant and postpartum families every day.
So 10 years, anything that you notice that has changed over the 10 years, gotten worse, better, just in the general state of things in our communities?
Well, I would say from like the WIC standpoint, our greatest achievement in the last 10 years is that we transitioned from paper checks to the e-WIC card. So people who might have heard of WIC in the past, even people like my age, if they were on WIC when they were little, like their parents were cashing checks at the store, not just scanning a card.
Okay.
So I would say that. As far as like the political climate or general social movements and whatnot, I don't know. I think that we have a great opportunity for progress and supporting families with where they're at and being culturally sensitive and providing resources where families that meet families where they're at, and that's in our control as part of the services we provide. So in a way, I would say that that's a positive thing that we're able to impact people's lives.
Yeah, I think a lot of the negativity against any type of supporting programs, I'm not going to use the word welfare, but the climate right now is kind of negative. But I do think that I found that if you get down to the community level, that not much has changed. People still need help, and there's still
Yes.
people there that are looking and willing to help,
Yeah.
like you guys, which is so I guess that's good. So yeah, you mentioned earlier too, breastfeeding support is what does that mean? So do the women not understand, like, how to do it, or like what is the breastfeeding program, support program that you guys offer? What's that entail?
You would think, right? Because our bodies are made to breastfeed that we would know what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And we have no idea. So over the years, like there was a push of formula back early, like I don't know, 50s, 60s, right? And like
Yep.
the cultural transition made it so that a lot of families didn't really have the education or understanding of breastfeeding. Like my mom didn't breastfeed me. She wouldn't know how to support me in breastfeeding my kids because she didn't have the experience.
Okay.
And I think a lot of families experience that, and there's a lot of challenges that come into breastfeeding. Like it's a wonderful thing that you can do. It can also be very difficult. And the difficult part is what we're there to help support you through. Are you having problems with latching? Do you prefer pumping over latching? What's going to work best for your scenario with your baby? Maybe some families do formula and breastfeeding. And we can support a family with whatever they need in the realm of how they're feeding their baby. But breastfeeding is really difficult in general because every single person has a different experience. Like your body anatomy makes a difference, your health makes a difference, your baby's ability to latch makes a difference, and how early or late they were born. So really, breastfeeding support is there to help have like a guiding group of people, because all of our nutritionists can provide breastfeeding support. And some of our nutritionists are certified lactation counselors, so we can help with like a latch assessment. There's a lot of information on the internet. We can help you decipher what is actually real and what is maybe not the most
Maybe
safe or
too much
healthy.
information on the internet.
Yes. So like a trusted place where you have access to people who can answer questions about breastfeeding rather than possibly having to go to Google or a Facebook group, which could be a free-for-all.
Or AI.
Or AI now. I'm not even there yet.
Well, yeah, it's you guys provide a great service. I can only imagine, being a young mother or a new mother for the first time, and maybe you're not settled financially or career-wise, but that baby's coming, and you want the best for it, and so it's awesome to know that there's a program like this that can give you some support. And so, thanks for what you guys do, and thanks for coming in and sharing information about the program with everybody, because it's something that I think a lot of people probably doesn't know is here, but you serve 5,000 women and infants every month.
Yeah, and if you have questions, if you're eligible, like reaching out to us, we can always like help talk through your specific situation, and then that way you don't have to guess whether or not you're eligible.
Sure.
And applying doesn't take away from someone else. So if you're like, oh, I'm good enough, but I technically could qualify, our state has the funding that it needs to cover all of the families that are eligible for WIC. So don't sacrifice getting a benefit that you could be eligible for just because you're trying to save it for someone who might need it more.
Okay, well, that's a good way to end it here. Thanks, guys, for coming in. I appreciate it. Once again, call 585-394-9240 or text, which is nice if you just are sitting there on the couch watching this or watching this on your phone, and you want to get things started. Very low barrier to do that. Just text 585-481-8488. More information at SPCC SPCC-ROCH.org. on their website. More information there, and those numbers that I also shared are also there. So check them out. And thanks for joining us again for another edition of FLX Weekly. If you enjoyed the show, click like, share, and subscribe, or leave a comment below. Back again next Wednesday. I'll have Aaron Johnson of the Auburn YMCA talking about the Bon Ton Roulette event coming up. So until then, it's warming up a little bit, so you might be able to get outside and walk the dog or do some yard work. It's really kind of exciting. So have a great weekend here in the Finger Lakes.